I'm about to start my reading for the day, and I just want to talk a little bit more about why from milk to meat. I think personally there's things that I noticed about myself in this time that I've been spending with God that requires a certain level of maturity to understand God's position and to understand who He is. He's a loving, faithful, merciful, long-suffering Father. And this comes from a journal entry that I read. I'm going to read to you. The journal entry is from July 2024. I had just finished reading the book of Numbers, and it took me the longest to read, and I was really struggling with understanding it. I was really struggling with just being like, it challenged me, and it challenged my thoughts on God, because of course I envisioned Him as a loving Father who is long-suffering, who is merciful, all these things. And in reading the book, I was challenged in various ways, and I put down a list of things that challenged me. For example, one of the things that happened was those who cursed God when they were asking for meat, and God didn't give them meat. Well, He did. He gave them krill. But anybody who ate of that meat died. Those who doubted God when they were faced with the giants in Canaan, they did not get to see Canaan, and they all died in the wilderness. Aaron's sons, even though they were well-intentioned in what they were going to do for God, they didn't follow His instructions, and they were engulfed by a fire. Israelites that were trying to undermine Aaron and Moses' leadership, they questioned them, and the ground opened up and swallowed them whole. They continued to question Moses and blamed God for their suffering in the wilderness. And then a poisonous snake bit them all, and they died. And other rebels, well, they were engulfed by fire too. Miriam, the sister of Aaron and Moses, well, she fell into a spirit of complaining. And this was over Moses' new wife. She got leprosy, right? It did not end there. These are some of the highlights of it. But the most painful one, and the one that I didn't understand the most, was the one where Aaron and Moses disobeyed God when He told them to hit the rock, and, these people were thirsty, hit the rock and water will come out. I didn't first understand where they disobeyed Him. I'm like, they hit the rock and water came out. But the scripture is quite specific that they did not uphold the holiness of God. So seemingly in anger, Moses was like, what do you want? Basically, this is me paraphrasing. It's just like, do you want water? Basically, it sounds like he's like, do you want water? I'll bring you the water from this rock. So it sounds like his tone and the way that he did it did not honor God's holiness. Even though he did hit the rock and water did come out, God punished them, and they said, well, you're not going to see Canaan. And I was like, God, I'm reading this and I am with you up until now as a loving Father. Why are you killing so many of your children? Why have you killed so many of your children? And I'll be honest with you, I still don't understand it. But here's something that I want us to go into this challenge knowing that the point of it is growth. And why? When you're a child, the things that your parents say don't do. When you're a child, your mom and dad are like, don't touch the plugs with your bare hands. Don't put on shoes when you go outside. And you're like, why are you telling me things that I don't care about? Why are you being mean to me because I want to go outside to play with no shoes on? And they're like, well, you can get injured. You're like, I've never gotten injured. Why would you even say that? You're a child, and your parents are telling you things that you don't understand because your brain hasn't fully developed to understand the dangers and the things that surround you that are trying to come for your life. And you're just being like, you're trying to stop me from having my fun. You're trying to stop me from enjoying my life. I liken this in some way to my understanding of the word, or my lack of understanding of the word. Basically, what I think that this challenge is going to help us do is to be able to take in what God says, take in the actions of God and what God does. But in the times where we don't understand, we still take it in so that on the day that we do understand it, we go back and say, oh my gosh, that's why he was telling me. Because the thing that worried me when I read the scripture was, if I want my people to know that I'm a loving father, that I'm long-suffering, that I am caring for them, that I love them so deeply, why would I let the story about me killing so many of them even exist in the book that I said, this is what you need to know about me? Why would you keep it in there unless it served a purpose that confirms his identity as a loving father? The fact that we don't understand it in the beginning when you're reading the scripture doesn't mean he's not long-suffering, doesn't mean that he is not loving. No, he still is. You just need to grow in the spirit to understand it. And I'll come back one day and explain to you what it means when I've reached that level of maturity. But if you're like me and you haven't reached that level of maturity where you can discern why God put this in the book, that he wants us to know about how loving he is with actions that are seemingly not loving, well, listen up. Let's journey together so that we can understand God more, because he's already told us the truth and we know the truth. So we just need to walk in that truth. For now, we just need to trust him. We just need to believe him.